Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today we're going to be doing some Mystical Beast of Serket test hands. So I'm really excited to show you guys this deck, because this was actually suggested to me by one of my patrons, Sienna. And Sienna wanted to see a deck that you can include the really nostalgic, awesomely powerful Mystical Beast of Serket with Temple of the Kings. And this deck is a very nostalgic deck, because it actually is basically the embodiment of the tag team combo, Odeon and Merrick. Being able to summon out your copy of your Egyptian Slime and your Mystical Beast of Serket is really awesome, and it also helps out that I'm actually watching through the original DM all over again, and I just got to the particular duel that he summoned out Serket, which is really cool when he was actually going against Joey. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards like getting your name description in a single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your patron along with test hands. And definitely give Sienna some love down in the comments down below for suggesting such a cool deck. So we're going to go ahead and shuffle up this deck, guys. And this deck is a very interesting deck in what it's trying to do. Because basically all you're trying to do is summon out your copy of your Mystical Beast of Serket to your side of the field, and then go in with a bunch of different trap monsters to be able to go in for game, which is really cool. Temple of the Kings plays well in this deck because Temple of the Kings lets you activate a set trap card during your turn once per turn, which is really good and helps out the deck consistency a lot. So let's go ahead and see what we can do for our first test hand. Let's give the deck a quick shuffle and see what we can pull off. So this deck, like I said, it kind of works just like Odeon's deck did, because what Odeon did was he actually used the Mystical Beast of Serket with the copies of the embodiment of Apopus to be able to go in, and this kind of embodies that, where it's an upgraded version with trap monsters. So let's go ahead and see what we can do. So we're going to go ahead and draw into a copy of Mystical Beast of Serket, two copies of Temple of the King, and a copy of Metal Reflex, 3 copies of Temple of the King. Okay, they really want me to summon Serket, don't they? So let's go ahead and see what we can do with this first hand. That's a lot. That's really good. That's really rare to do. So we're going to go ahead and activate the copy of Temple of the Kings. And if you guys are unfamiliar with what this card actually does, this card was one of the first cards that actually got its text changed and was actually errataed and changed from what it originally does. So what this card does is you get to activate one trap card the turn it was set, every single one of your turns, because you can use this card's effect once per turn. It also has the ability that you can send a Mystical Beast of Serket in your monster zone, and this card you control, to the graveyard to special summon one monster from your hand or deck, or a fusion monster from your extra deck. Now before, it just lets you special summon whatever you wanted from the extra deck, but now they've kind of locked it in just to fusions, because at the time of dual monsters, there was only fusion monsters, ritual monsters, and tribute summon monsters, and normal monsters in the game. So let's go ahead and see what we can do for our first test hand. So we're going to do something very simple. We're just going to go ahead and activate Temple of the Kings, set our copy of Metal Reflex Slime, activate it on our side of the field, and then tribute it right away to summon a Mystical Beast of Serket. Now the really neat thing about Mystical Beast of Serket is you can actually use it in this deck to be able to summon out some really powerful fusion monsters. So there's a couple that you can actually summon, and I'm going to show you guys these, but if you want to check out the deck profile, it is down in the description below to actually see the full extra deck and main deck. So let's go ahead and show you guys what you can summon. So you can actually summon out Egyptian God Slime if you use the copy of Metal Reflex Slime, or you can just special summon it out by sending these two to the graveyard. Red Eyes Dark Dragoons, Ultimate Alternative, or Blue Eyes Alternative Ultimate Dragon, and your copy of Last Warrior from Another Planet. Now these are the best targets to actually summon out with this card, and they're really good targets for this deck, because basically what you do with these cards is you're playing kind of a little bit of nostalgic, which is why I really love this deck, because you're basically playing Merrick's boss monster besides the Winged Dragon of Ra. You're playing Joey and Yugi combined with the Red Eyes Dark Dragoons, Kaiba's new Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, which is Alternative Ultimate, and then one of the OG classic monsters, which is the Last Warrior from Another Planet, which is really cool because it locks your opponent down and you down from summoning monsters, which is really cool to be able to summon literally any of these on your side of the field. I love summoning all 4 of these, or any of the 4 of these, to my side of the field, because they give me all sorts of unique effects. This card can't be destroyed by battle, and it can be treated as 3 tributes for a monster, which gives you a little bit of an opening that if you wanted to play the Winged Dragon of Ra in this deck too, you could. And then we play Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, which gives us a negate. We play the copy of Alternative Ultimate, which is an out to Dragoons because it's bigger than it, and it can pop a card on the field. And then you play Last Warrior from Another Planet, which basically just turns the entire game into a shutdown where we're putting all of our cards face down until our opponent finally outs this card to be able to go in for additional plays, or we keep swinging until they can't set a monster. So you have a lot of different plays that you can actually go for with this particular hand, or you can just leave Serket on the field. That's totally fine if you just want to leave Serket on the field, but the best thing to do is actually to use your copy of Red Eyes Dark Dragoons and summon that card to your side of the field with Mystical Beast of Serket. But the important thing to keep in mind is you can put any fusion monster you want into this deck, because you can use any of these four, but if there's any one that doesn't just say this card must be fusion summoned, you can use it in place of any of these cards. You don't have to summon Dragoons. You can summon Alternative Ultimate. You can summon anything that says, hey, you can summon me. You can even summon the original Blue Eyes Ultimate if you wanted to for nostalgic. So that's it for the first test hand to show you guys, because basically at this point you just have 2 copies of Temple of the King, and we're going to draw into a copy of Pot of Extravagance, which is going to let us draw into 2 more copies of Trap Monsters, which is still pretty good to be able to go into because you're going to get all sorts of crazy plays. So let's go ahead and shuffle up the deck and see what we can do for the next one, because as you guys can see, the deck is super consistent. It just throws us Temple of the Kings like no business. Like, that was crazy that we drew all 3 in the first hand. Like, you definitely got to give me a like for that one, and definitely subscribe to the channel because we're almost to 50,000 subscribers, and it would really help out if you guys were subscribed. So let's go ahead and see what we can do for the next one. So we're going to go ahead and draw. We're going to draw into a copy of Mystical Beast of Serket right off the bat, Zoma the Spirit, Watch Cat, and a copy of the Abyss Stingray. So this is a very simple hand in what you're going to do. You're actually going to special summon to your side of the field the Watch Cat, because it has the ability that if you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. And then during the end phase, if this card was special summoned this way, you can banish this card to set a continuous spell directly from the deck. So we're going to go ahead and use this particular card, special summon it to our side of the field, and then set 3. We set 3, we then can use the copy of the Watch Cat to banish itself to then grab a copy of Temple of the Kings from the deck, which is really going to help out to grab that copy of Temple of the Kings, because now we have Serket and Temple of the Kings to be able to go in for additional plays. Now it actually just lets you set that card to your side of the field. So we're going to set it right down here and then pass. Now you might be thinking, wow, we left ourselves really open. But with the trap monsters, just like Odeon played in the original anime, it's not. You can actually just activate your copies of your trap monsters during your opponent's turn. And the really cool thing about this is you have the copy of Stingray that can't be destroyed by battle, and the double Zoma the Spirit actually does burn damage, which is really cool for the different plays, because Zoma the Spirit has the ability that if this card is special summoned in defense position as an effect monster, is summoned this way, it's destroyed by battle, you inflict damage to your opponent equal to the monster that destroyed this card's attack, which is really good just to be able to do a little bit more burn damage, because if they leave it on the field and you switch it to attack position, it actually has 1800 attack, and this has 1900 attack, but you're going to have to special summon them in defense position when you summon them originally, which is totally fine, but they only have 500 defense points, so they can swing into them with something small. But still, regardless, to deal with these cards, they are going to have to take a little bit of damage, which is really good. So during the next turn, we're going to draw into a copy of Magic Planter, and then we're going to activate the copy of Temple of the Kings, treating one of our Zoma, the spirits, on our side of the field to summon out our copy of Serket. Now, you can use the copy of Magic Planter to send a face-up continuous trap to the graveyard to get you a draw. It's not really necessary to be able to go into, but you can if you want to, and what you're going to draw into is a Temple of the Kings and Pot of Extravagance, which is not super needed anyways. So at this point, you can just attack with your Mystical Beast of Serket, or switch your copies of your other monsters to attack position, or even send these 2 to the graveyard to summon out a copy of your Alternative Ultimate to be able to pop a card, or just get you a 4500 attack point monster that can start swinging over and over and over again every single turn, which is really good, or get you a pop, which is really good too. So let's go ahead into the next test hand and see what we can do for the next one. As you guys can see, this deck is really consistent. You have a lot of ways to actually search your copy of your Temple of the Kings, which is the main focus. You don't have to summon your copy of Serket. You can just leave Temple of the Kings on the field, because every single turn you are getting to activate a trap the same turn it was set, which is really good, but you can only activate 1 the same turn it was set, which is still pretty good just to be able to do that, because it helps out a lot to get those plays rolling. To be able to get a monster on your side of the field, especially if you draw into Metal Reflect Slime, summoning out that Egyptian God Slime is really good, because you can even throw in a copy of the Winged Dragon of Ra into this deck if you want to, over one of our other boss monsters that I'm going to show you guys in just a minute. So we're going to go ahead and shuffle up the deck, and we're going to see what we can do for the next one. So for the next one, we're going to draw into a Uriah. Wow, that was actually the boss monster. So we're going to draw a Uriah, Abyss Stingray, a copy of Metal Reflect Slime, Watch Cat, and a copy of Curry Bandit. So this is where we go into the alternative kind of boss monster besides Serket, which is our copy of Uriah. Now, the really cool thing about this is this could be the Winged Dragon of Ra if you wanted to play it even more nostalgic and make it more of a character deck to be more like Odeon, which is kind of cool. This could actually change into that card if you wanted to play it, because I played 2 of these, and if you guys want to check out the deck, it is down in the description below. But this card is really good in the deck because you're playing so many continuous traps. It's very easy to summon to your side of the field, and it can get really, really big and out of hand for your opponent with cards like Curry Bandit, because you can just normal summon the Curry Bandit and send the top 5 from the deck to the graveyard, and then add one of the continuous spells or traps that you revealed and excavated to your hand, and then the other 4 go. So with a simple hand like this, we're going to special summon out that copy of Watch Cat, normal summon out the Curry Bandit, and then set 2. Once we set these 2, we're going to be able to use Chain Link 1 and Chain Link 2. We then are going to, because they both activate during the end phase, we're going to search that copy of Temple of the Kings and add it to our hand, shuffle up the deck, and then once we shuffle up the deck, we're then going to be able to go in again and reveal the top 5 off of our deck to be able to go in for another card. I'm probably going to grab the copy of the Metal Reflect Slime, maybe the copy of Temple of the Kings. It's totally up to you what you grab. I would probably grab maybe the copy of Duality, maybe the copy of Temple of the Kings. It doesn't super matter what you grab at this point. Probably the copy of the Metal Reflect Slime, because it's going to give me additional boss monsters on my side of the field. These actually would go to the graveyard, so you're actually going to send those cards that you revealed to the graveyard, which is totally fine, but you're just seeing basically that what you're going to send, which is totally fine. So let's go into the next test hand. As you guys can see, you can get all sorts of really good setup with this particular plays, and you can set up your copy of your Uriah to be able to go in for all sorts of different boss monsters. But you have to get those 3 monsters on your side of the field to be able to then summon Uriah and have all those different trap monsters in the graveyard, which is really cool. And it's very simplistic in trying to get Uriah with your copy of Curry Bandit. So let's go ahead and see what we can do for the next one. So we're going to draw to a copy of Tiki Soul, a copy of Metal Reflect Slime, Tiki Soul, or Tiki Curse, excuse me, Curry Bandit, and a copy of the Stingray. So this is a very simple hand. You're just going to normal summon out the copy of Curry Bandit, set 4 against your opponent, and pass. When we then pass, tribute the Curry Bandit, look at the top 5 of our deck, and then once we look at the top 5, you're going to grab one of them from your hand to your hand, and we don't have, I believe, do we have Metal Reflect Slime? We do have Metal Reflect Slime. So let's go ahead and grab the copy of the Stingray. Send the rest of these to the graveyard. This will go to hand. Our opponent will go. You can start flipping up your copies of your trap monsters on your side of the field, which gives you more defense power. And then we go into the next turn, which we're going to draw into a copy of Pot of Extravagance, which then we're going to activate. Banish the top 6 from our extra deck, which you actually can shuffle up the extra deck. We're going to give it a quick pile shuffle before we actually go in and see what we hit. It doesn't super matter what you hit with this, because what you're basically looking for is just to keep one of your fusion monsters. It could be anything. It could be a Dragoons. It could be a copy of your Egyptian God Slime. It could be anything. As long as we don't hit all 3 Egyptian God Slimes, we're totally fine. So let's go ahead and see what we hit. So we're going to hit a copy of Dragoons right out the bat, Baguska, Last Warrior, Egyptian God Slime, Red Eyes, and a copy of Egyptian God Slime. That's fine. It doesn't even matter that we hit those, because you can even go in for more plays. So at this point, we're going to draw 2. Hopefully it's a Serket. It is a Serket, and it is a statue of the Anguish. So this is pretty good to be able to go in for, because basically at this point, you can just go ahead and get rid of this on your side of the field. Summon out our copy of our Egyptian God Slime, which is the last one we have in the deck, but you can summon this to your side of the field to get more plays. You can't summon Serket because you don't have Temple of the Kings, but you still have more plays. Set these cards on your field, and then you can attack your opponent, because these each have a 1800 attack, and they have unique effects that if another trap card that is treated as a monster is destroyed by an opponent's card, destroy the opponent's monster that destroyed that card after the damage calculation. So it really helps out to be able to just deal with your opponent's monsters while you have Tiki Curse on your side of the field, and it's one of the coolest, like, old school cards that you actually can play. So we're just going to set these 2 face down, pass to the opponent after we attack, and then we're going to draw into the next turn, which is a Curry Bandit. Normal summon the Curry Bandit, and then we're going to look at the top 5 again after we swing, and then this is what we reveal, which is another copy of Serket. You can grab any of these and go for more plays. As you guys can see, you're going to be drawing really, really deep into the deck to be able to get your cards, which is really helpful for this deck. And I really love how useful Curry Bandit is in this deck. Like, it really helps out, especially when you use something like a Uriah and you're getting into those plays. Let me show you really quick how easy it is to pull off a Uriah in this deck. So we're just going to go ahead and add these to hand. It doesn't matter what the other cards that we have are. Well, actually, let's do it this way. Let's put 3 trap monsters in our hand and give us the ideal hand to actually summon Uriah. So I'm going to show you guys just how big it can get if you draw into Uriah and literally any 3 trap monsters to be able to go into. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and set these 3 on our side of the field. It doesn't matter where you set them. Normal summon out the copy of the Curry Bandit and then tribute the Curry Bandit during the end phase. Reveal the top 5 on your deck and excavate them. We hit 4, which goes up by 4,000. Grab the copy of the Tiki Curse and then send these to the graveyard. You now have 3 in the graveyard and you have 3 set. So when your opponent goes, you can either take the damage or start special summoning, depending on what they have during the battle phase. Summon these to your side of the field, and then we draw into another copy of a card. You can then use all 3 of these on your side of the field to summon out your copy of Uriah, and Uriah will come out at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,000 attack points, which is pretty good, and he can pop a spell or trap that's set. You can then set these 2 on your field and start building up your board, which is really good. We're going to draw again and draw into a copy of the Angel statue, and then start activating these on your side of the field, which is why I like to play the Uriah, because as your opponent deals with these later in the game, if you draw into the 1 of 2 Uriahs that we play in the deck, you can start going in for additional plays. Now, another card that I did think about playing in here was the Searing Flame trap card that you actually have the Blaze. I think it was called a Hyper Blaze was his trap card that was in the Sacred Beast structure deck, but that is a card that you can play in here if you want to, just to get you additional plays and go in for more for game where you can just make him a lot bigger and be able to revive him over and over again. So let's go ahead and see what we can do for one more test hand and see what we can pull off. So we're going to go ahead and shuffle up the deck really, really good and see what we can do. Even if you draw like 5 trap monsters, you're still okay. So let's go ahead and see what we do. We're going to get Tiki Soul, Metal Reflect Slime, Tiki Curse, Pot of Duality, and a copy of the Angel statue. So this is fine. We're just going to go ahead and activate the copy of Pot of Duality. Look at the top 3 of our deck, which is going to be a Curry Bandit, and Mystical Beast of Serket, which I'm going to grab the copy of the Curry Bandit. These will get shuffled back into the deck, which is totally fine. We don't need them anyways. And then you can set 4, normal summon the Curry Bandit, and you still got the plays to roll with, because as soon as you draw Temple of the Kings, you're going to be able to go in for all those different plays. Tribute this monster on your side of the field, look at the top 5, and then be able to go and grab one of them. So we're actually going to grab the Temple of the Kings right off the bat, and the other ones of these will go to the graveyard. Set this card on our side of the field, or be able to just hold it in the hand. Actually, that's Watchcat that sets it. But then our opponent goes, and you can just start activating our trap monsters, and then we go into the next turn, and we draw, and hopefully it's a Serket, and it's a Watchcat. Oh, it was at least a monster, though. But you can hold this in your hand if you want to, and then be able to send this to the graveyard and summon out at least a boss monster to your side of the field, which is your God Slime, which is really good to be able to go into, and then switch these monsters into attack position and start swinging after your opponent, which is really good. You can then set your copy of the Watchcat on your field or hold it. Usually I like to hold it just in case my opponent board wipes, but if we go into the next turn, we're going to draw into another copy of Temple of the Kings, and then we're going to draw into the next turn our Serket, which then you can just tribute and summon out the Serket and go in for more plays where you can just start swinging with Serket, which is really, really good. I love the way that that does, or the way that plays, because it's really simple to be able to go in for. So let's do one more, see what we can do. Just see if we can hit Serket one last time. See if we can actually summon out Mystical Beast of Serket one last hand, because that was pretty good on the first one, drawing all 3 of those Temple of the Kings and being able to summon God Slime to your side of the field. It just feels super nostalgic being able to summon that card to my side of the field. I really love that ability to actually summon out that really cool old school card. So we're going to go ahead and let's cut the deck and see what we can do. So we're going to go ahead and cut the deck. We're going to draw into a copy of Uriah, Pot of Extravagance, a copy of Temple of the Kings, Watchcat, and a copy of Temple of the Kings. We draw in 2 Temple of the Kings, no trap monster, and a copy of Pot of Extravagance. So we're going to use the Extravagance, draw 2, which we're actually going to have to banish 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It doesn't matter what we banish, as long as we basically, well, you didn't keep any of the God Slimes. You actually banished all 3 God Slimes, which is something to note. And then we're going to draw into both of these, which is totally fine, because now at this point you can special summon the Watchcat again, normal summon out the copy of the Curry Bandit, use both of these as Chainlink 1 or Chainlink 1 Curry Bandit, Chainlink 2 Watchcat, and then be able to add a continuous spell from the deck, and then mill the cards out of the deck. So now we have all 3 Temple of the Kings in our hand. You'll actually set one of these on your side of the field, which is going to just give us a little bit of a defense power before we end turn. Shuffle up the deck, and then once you shuffle up the deck, you're going to then reveal the top 5 once you do, and be able to draw one of them to your hand. Hopefully we don't hit all 3 circuits, which would be a real shame, but it has happened to me in playtesting. So let's go ahead and see what we do. So we're going to reveal all 3. Meta Reflect Slime, Statue, Tiki Soul, Serket. Okay, or Tiki Curse. I probably would grab, if I didn't hit all the Male Reflect Slimes, or I didn't hit all the Egyptian God Slimes, I would have grabbed this. But since we did, I probably would grab the Tiki Curse at this point, and then these would go to the graveyard, which is still okay because we still have a little bit of a setup to be able to go in for, because at this point we have a little bit of a defense, and then we go into the next turn and we draw into a copy of Watchcat, activate the copy of Temple of the Kings, special summon this to our side of the field, and then you can basically just sit here with this popping cards every time you activate something. Go into the next turn, Kari Bandit, use Kari Bandit, go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you're going to mill out again more cards, which I'm going to grab the copy of Extravagance because I really want to get to that copy of my Serket, which at this point you might have gotten like completely destroyed because you have 2 monsters on the field, which happens in decks like this. It's totally okay. But we're going to Extravagance again. During the next turn, we're going to draw a card, which is going to be Kari Bandit, Extravagance 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we're going to look at the top 2. And if it's not Serket, we're just going to call it here. So we didn't draw into Serket, but that is okay because then you can activate the Angel statue. And then if you did get to keep your monsters, like your opponent couldn't deal with them, you could summon out Uriah to your field. And then after you have a late game, which is why I was kind of waiting to see if I could get to Serket. If you're going late game, you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6 and 7 and 8. So the Uriah comes out at 8,000, which is still pretty good. Like, that's not bad to be able to actually summon Uriah. So I think that's going to do for these test hands, guys. I really love the way the deck plays. It's very simple to actually summon Serket, and it's a really cool card to actually summon to your side of the field. I really wish that they would give it a little bit more support, because it would be really a cool monster to actually summon out, to be able to like summon out God Slime and stuff like that. It's just a really awesome card. Maybe a Searcher for Serket at least would help out the deck and really just be a really cool card that you could just special summon to your side of the field as a trap monster, or even a retrain of the embodiment of Apopus would be really good too. So anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell on there so you can come part of the notification squad, and definitely give Sienna some love down in the comments down below for suggesting this awesome deck. And we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.